Welcome, everybody. What is your next move? This video found you because we have messages for you about all 12 signs. We're going to talk about the energy of 2025 a little bit here in the beginning, but make sure to stay tuned to the very end for a bonus message as well. Here today, joining me again, my friend, Tarot Master Reader, Chris Reck. Hey, Chris, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Chris Reck's from Minnow Pond Tarot and his own YouTube channel, Chris Reck. Also, he has his Dent Maker program that I'm a Dent Maker with at chrisreck.com. So we'll be chatting about that a little bit more later. But let us know in the chat where you all are tuning in from. Let us know your sign, because we are going to be going through all 12 signs and talking about some really important messages to get you motivated. In fact, one of the things that we're going to start off this chat with is 2025 themes. And, you know, Chris, I noticed you've done your 2025 readings on Minnow Pond Tarot. I just released my 2025 readings yesterday right here. And I was curious, have you been seeing some similar themes for 2025 across all 12 signs?
Yeah, I would say that, the same theme that's been coming up, I've talked about it before, is that, people really need to like try to accomplish something big, so I would definitely do that. It was like a weird year. I don't know how I feel about 2025. I always say this. I mean, I think a year is like a long time to predict, right?
Right.
So, I always like to say that, I wouldn't put like too much pressure on your 2025 reading or think that it's like absolutely going to be that way, because things always change. I think the quarterlies are, definitely better. So I'm interested to see how the year goes. But definitely like a slow start to the year, which makes sense for everybody. Kind of working through a lot of stuff as well. So, if, a lot of shadow work stuff came up, or, a lot of like personal development type stuff was going on in those readings. So yeah, that's what I would focus on. Just yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with you. It's not something you want to take so seriously, but it is a way to have a heads up about things
Yeah.
so that you can navigate it, right? And we were talking
Right.
backstage. I've noticed for several months now, and I was curious if you've seen this other signs. I'm a Cancer sun sign with a Capricorn rising, and when I always go listen to my sun, moon, and rising videos first. I like to listen to the other signs too, because I like to hear about family and loved ones and other areas of my chart. But definitely my sun and rising, Capricorn, Cancer, I feel like I have to check to make sure I didn't just click on the same video again by accident,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's the same theme. Are you seeing that with a lot of the signs, or just us?
Nope. Just I like I said, it used to be Pisces and Virgo were the most similar things that I would do between opposites, and now it is definitely Cancer and Capricorn are the most similar opposites that I read for right now. So no other sign gets, no other opposites, I would say, get similar readings. Maybe Aries and Libra sometimes get very similar messages, but that's really it. Just right now it's Capricorn and Cancer.
That's so validating, because every time I listen to your videos and I go to both, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the same message, but it's also amazing affirmation with it being that it's your
Yeah.
opposite sign. So even I just happen to have sun in rising opposite, but you might want to consider, those of you out there, listening to your opposing sign videos every time you listen to your sun sign or your moon or rising, because our whole area of our chart affects us. And a lot of times when you're blocked, it's because you need to go to that opposite sign. Wouldn't you say that's true, Chris?
Yeah, I think I'm a big believer that we have to learn from our opposite sign. So yes.
Yes, that I agree. And there's always a little bit of a flip of the script, or looking at it from a different perspective, but
Yeah.
there tends to be some similar themes there. And if you're somebody that even goes even deeper and looks into the opposite house as well, that can help give you more clarity with these readings too. So keep that in mind when you're listening to the 2025 readings. I definitely saw some themes too, Chris. It was interesting. One of the big things that was coming through was to make sure we're relying on our inner resources. So when you said a lot of shadow work, that's reminded me of something I was hearing, is you're really going to need to go within and be very careful about taking things at face value. This could be
Yeah.
communication. This could be headlines. This could be even like conversations and relationships. There's this feeling of there's going to be a lot going on behind the scenes. Did you see any of that coming up?
I mean, I've been talking about this since 2016. I mean, I
Yep.
said like since 2016 that Neptune and Pisces, once it reached that 15 degrees, for whatever reason, I had this thought years ago that 15 degrees was important with Neptune and Pisces, and I said like don't believe anything after 15 degrees, and I think it was 2016 when Neptune cleared that halfway point, and so yeah, I mean, I think basically everything is an illusion. With Neptune in that the second half of Pisces there. So, and we probably won't really learn the truth until like, I don't know, 2033, something like that, until like after it clears,
Right.
2026 and moves forward. So it's going to take some time, but, definitely a time of the truth, right?
I agree. And I'm so interested that you brought up 2016 too, because that was another message that came through for me for 2025. 2025 is a net 9 in numerology, which is
Mm,
the end of a cycle. So it came up for you in
mm,
2016, and see where that guided you, And the other big thing to keep in mind too is we do have the nodes moving out of Aries and Libra into Pisces and Virgo because they go the other way, the nodes do. So we're going to be going kind of backwards from the North Node in Aries into Pisces and from the South Node in Libra into Virgo. So another consideration would be to go back and look at the last time the nodes were there and what was going on for you. I like to always say, like, go type the year in your email box. I tend to keep
mm.
important emails, like get rid of the spam, but I have been shocked at the communication that has come up when I just type in, 2012 and I'll find an email. You're laughing. Have you had that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like even recently, it has nothing to do with this, but I found an old email that I needed, so it's funny that you said that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like we were always taught to clean your inbox and keep everything really clean, but I've
Yeah.
been really glad I didn't for a lot of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Same here.
Yeah, and it's almost like a time travel thing because you see like an email to like a romantic partner or to an old boss, right? And you're just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
whoa.
Those are always cringy, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's another big thing that I was getting for 2025 is just doing that inner reflection, like you said, going back and then. But that's always a good thing to do. And another thing is
Yeah.
going to be everybody is going to be experiencing unexpected opportunities. And it is going to require a leap of faith. So I'll
Mm.
be interested to see what comes up for all 12 signs when we get there because keep an eye out. There's going to be unexpected opportunities. You're going to have to trust your intuition to see if it's the right opportunity for you because you're not going to really know. It's that leap of faith. You're not going to really know how, where, what, why, when. Like it's going to be a little bit of a, blind faith thing. Were you seeing any of that coming up for 2025?
Ton- Tons of that. Even I can't remember the name of the card, but I did Taurus this morning, and they had this card in here. I was like, oh my god, this has to do with like pretty much everybody is dealing with this right now. I don't know. I'm not gonna find it. I don't remember what deck it was, but in one of these decks, I have like something about embrace the uncertainty or something like that. And I was thinking about this morning when I did Taurus. And here it is. It was this one right here. So it says embrace uncertainty on it. And I was like saying to Taurus that like I think everybody needs to do this because
Mm-hmm.
there could just be something that I think comes out like out of left field for everybody has this opportunity, like you said, and where something could just pop up that like captures your attention or that you feel enthusiastic about. And I think that's what people need to pay attention to the most. And I always say like I am a big believer we have to tell our brain like, hey, looking for a solution, like you need to talk to your brain. I talk to my brain all day long, right? And I always say like you need to look for something that jumps out at you. So I'm
Mm.
a big believer literally telling your brain to look for it because then you'll see it.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's about watching that thought process and the way we're talking to ourselves.
Hmm.
And one of the things I've heard you say a lot in the readings that I also got was about facing decisions head on. If there's anything
Yeah.
that you're pretending is not a problem, that's going to come to the surface. Have you seen that too?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always think of like Wheel of Fortune is my card for that because I think with Wheel of Fortune, it's like you have to
Mhm.
take care of your problems right away
Right.
because when you don't, you have much bigger problems. But also, there's a good side to Wheel of Fortune. Like you double down on the good stuff, you get more good stuff as well. So Wheel of Fortune has been coming up all year, and I definitely think we're in a time where we have to do that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, I it's always better to just go ahead and face an issue and get the answer than sit there and
Yeah.
worry about it. I always feel like that's the worst part, is waiting to have the conversation or waiting to see what
Yeah.
happens, right? That's almost the worst
It's always
part.
so much worse.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely opportunities for that as well. And you know, I love what you always say about the 7 of Cups card. We'll see if that comes up about like spoiled
Yeah.
for options. I love that you say that. It's a positive
Yeah.
way to say it, but it's also, you don't want to let the option spoil. You have to have that
Right.
faith and pick one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else you saw for 2025 before we head into these all meetings?
I'm sure I'm forgetting something that I wanted to say about it, but so maybe it'll come up when we do this.
Yeah, if it comes up later, let us know, because I know, like, I'm looking forward to the nodes moving into Virgo and Pisces personally, because of course I'm a water sign. I'm looking forward to the Pisces energy, but there's going to be a lot of other really intense fiery energy in 2025. So we are going to have to go into that spiritual side, and Pisces can help us do that for sure.
I'm looking forward to Chiron direct, like on the 29th. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff coming up.
I completely agree. Well, let's get into this all 12 signs then for all of you. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that like button, share this video with anybody. It really helps other people find our channels. And speaking of channels, again, Chris is here from Minnow Pontero, but he also has his own YouTube channel, Chris Reck. Did you want to mention that to everybody? I think you have a new release up.
Yeah, I just put out a video today on that channel. We're posting more stuff there. I give away all my secrets away for free, so go take advantage of it. And all my good stuff I post there as well.
So much good stuff. Do not miss that video, you guys. And it's so practical and easy to apply. So I am definitely going to be watching that video, as I've watched so many of your tips. Inspiring, and just taking it one step at a time, because it's another big thing of 2025 is really getting out there in a bigger way. So check out Chris Reck's YouTube channel with his new video so that you can get all the tools and tips and be best ready for 2025. All right, so we're going to go into all 12 signs here. We're going to be talking about your next move. We do have a bonus message at the end, so make sure to stay tuned to the end. And to affirm this guidance here that we're about to go into, I'd like to ask you all to write in the comments below the following pocket affirmation: I am open to divine guidance. If you guys would write that below, I am open to divine guidance, to really affirm that you are open to hearing this guidance about your next move. And I also want to encourage you to listen to all 12 signs, because all 12 signs affect you. They really do. It's not just about your sun, moon, and rising. So excited to see what comes through here. Are you ready, Chris?
I'm ready.
All right. So what do we have for the Aries coming up first?
Aries, you have the Lovers and the Two of Pentacles. I mean, it could be love, but I feel like, you know, these two cards together would be a choice or a decision that you have to make. So both are very easy for me, because both, to me, say pick the new path, pick the new decision, or move in the new direction. So if you have a choice to make, I would pick the new path. I also feel like something is getting harder for Aries to ignore. I always think on the Two of Pentacles, like the waves, they start small, but then they get bigger as they go across the card. So there's probably something that you've been thinking about doing or taking action on, and it's just getting like bigger and bigger, or it's capturing more of your attention. So pick the new path, Aries, is what I would say to you.
I like that. That makes sense. I pulled the Unity card here, and I also pulled the Six of Water, which would be the Six of Cups. And what I was hearing when you were talking and pulling this in is Aries are so used to charging ahead and doing things alone, leading the pack. But that where we're headed with, especially with 2025 and beyond, with Pluto and Aquarius, it's going to be about unity. It's going to be about surrounding yourself with like-minded people, being willing to ask for help and not trying to do it all on your own. Don't get too far ahead of the pack either. And so possibly the new path, Chris, is inviting people to ride next to you instead of just charging out ahead of the pack and trying to do it all by yourself, because there are people who want to support you. The other thing with this Six of Water here, and I always like to see what you get after I pull the angel messages through, but there is something about you are wanting things to be the way they used to be in a lot of ways. So you saying pick the new path, it's like stop wishing everything was the way it used to be. It's just not. That it's in the past, and we don't want to be stuck in nostalgia, wishing things had turned out differently. and instead focus on where can you go in the future. So what came up for you, Chris, with Unity card and Six of Cups here?
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny because I always yell at Leo for this, and I always say to Leo that I feel this for all 12 signs. The whole like wishing the way things were the way they used to be. So like I feel like that's a very Leo thing, even though we're talking to Aries. But I think it's a fire sign energy for sure. But yeah, what popped into my head too is like these clouds between these two people
Mm,
on the lovers. It's and what I was gonna say to Aries is that it's like maybe you don't see how good something is gonna turn out. So I think you
right.
need to believe that something is gonna turn out better than expected. And again, it's clearly that energy is gaining momentum with the waves, like I was saying. So, I think you're probably going to end up taking action on whatever this is anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that, again, that theme for 2025 for all of us, the
Yeah.
leap of faith for sure.
Hmm.
All
Yep.
right, awesome. Taurus, what's coming up for Taurus's
Taurus.
next move?
Taurus has the King of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. Every Taurus reading I do is like all about them, and I always say like Taurus readings are all about them. So I do think with the Nine of Pentacles, Taurus is very focused on their environment, correcting their environment, focusing on their skills, building their skills, and again, more on the theme of being bold, being assertive with the King of Wands. So I think the only thing that's holding Taurus back is Taurus. And the other thing I would say about the Nine of Pentacles is your focus. There's this little falcon here. And so she's training her focus. And I did your reading this morning, Taurus, for next week, and it was all about focus. So, clearly focus is a theme for Taurus.
Wow, that's very similar to what I got for Taurus for
Mm.
2025. But also we have the Ace of Air card, which is of course a new idea, new communication, and also being really clear on where you want to head next. And we have the King of Earth as well,
Mm.
which isn't that a Taurus card, King of Pentacles, Chris?
Taurus, yep.
And so of course, like you said, it's all about you, Tauruses. We love you. We love the manifestation energy you bring in, and it's saying again, confidently accept new opportunities. So we're putting this together with Ace of Air and new opportunities. You're going to get a new start on a new idea. Maybe it's a new home, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a new relationship. You need to confidently accept these opportunities and be really clear on where you want to head, because that was, again, some of the energy I was getting for Taurus throughout 2025 was that need to feel really clear. And you said the word focus a lot, Chris. I feel like being focused on one thing at a time. What really are your goals? And that's going to really help bring these two energies together. So what were you getting after seeing those cards, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, King of Wands is very like visionary. And he has foresight, so he's able to see the future. And this is something that comes up a lot for Taurus as well, is that they need to embrace those like new ideas. Leave comfort zones. I think Tauruses can get stuck in a comfort zone, or even just like hold on to the old ways, the way things used to be. And
Yeah.
so I think like innovation, looking forward into the future, adapting to that is going to be a good thing with the King of Wands.
Yeah. And again, being focused on what it is that you're wanting, not allowing yourself to get distracted,
Mm.
especially with old habits. So think of things that you want to have bring you more energy and more focus, not things that pull you away from that. So I love that. For Tauruses. All right. So moving on to Geminis. What are you getting for Geminis?
Gemini, I think I warned you about this in your yearly reading. So you have the Nine of Wands and the Page of Swords. If I were a Gemini, I'm a Gemini moon. I would definitely be protecting yourself from past people right
Mm-hmm.
now. So, I think that, definitely with these retrogrades as well, past people could be spying or trying to get into your energy field. But like, I wouldn't worry about it. Nine of Wands is a card of boundaries. So I would definitely put up boundaries. I think on the positive side of things here, that these are both very, these are cards of experimentation. Nine of Wands is my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And then the Page of Swords is my card of curiosity. So I think Gemini should embrace their natural curiosity at this time and see what happens.
Oh, absolutely. I love that, because I was getting the renewal card as well, which same thing I was pulling up. Watch out for those exes trying to come back, and not just ex romantic partners, but ex bosses,
Yeah.
people from high school and college who are like, what are you up to? What are you doing? Trying to interfere with your energy. And then we have the Knight of Water Cup card, or Knight of Cups, that is talking about really balancing your emotions too. And one of the things I was hearing for Geminis in particular is just watch watch your thoughts when these people are coming back at you. If
Mm.
somebody is coming back from your past, and you're up at night thinking about that one time they said that thing to you, or you were embarrassed or whatever, right? Then that's probably a sign that person's energy is not meant to be there. That's the card. This is the card that I am seeing for that person, that essentially they're trying to pull you back into an energy that you've already freed yourself from. And you said curiosity too. I think the word curiosity can work both ways. It can be, get curious about why this person is trying to come back or trying
Hmm.
to lure you back, but also get curious about, why did that relationship fade away or end, and where could I go next where I don't repeat these patterns. So again, I'm really getting a need for balancing emotions as you see these people coming in potentially, and just focus on where you want to go. Anything else come up for you with this, Chris?
Yeah, I think that with the Page of Swords too, it's almost like someone's coming back and saying it's almost like they're like they left you maybe for a reason, and they're coming back to like prove themselves right. Like they thought
Mm.
you were this way, and they're just like coming back to say like, oh, I was right all along. So I would just
Wow.
ignore it, plain and simple, with the Page of Swords.
Yeah, that's a really interesting dynamic there too. I don't think people often consider that when they see people coming back from the past, and it could be also that maybe you were the person that was excusing their behavior, and they got away with stuff
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. So I'm feeling that
yeah,
for some
true.
Geminis too. All right, awesome. Moving on to the Cancers. What are you
Uh,
getting for the next move
Cancer,
with Cancers?
you're on fire, Cancer. So we have the Sun and the Queen of Wands. Love it. Two very happy energies, good energies. Queen of Wands, again, with our theme, I guess our theme today is like stepping into the unknown. The Queen of Wands is my card of learning as you go. Like, to me, she has no clue what she's doing. She's the only Wands court card that's like not protected from risk. So she has to take a risk without knowing if something is going to work or not. So, and she's the only Wands court card that has to do that. So, and I think that doing something unique is what this is saying. She has this black cat, and the black cat during the times of tarot was super unlucky. But the whole point of the black cat is she just likes her cat. She doesn't care what anyone thinks, and she is moving towards her happiness. I always say she has a sunflower, and the sunflower literally is pointing to the sun the way I'm holding them, but the sunflower points towards the sun, and
Mm-hmm.
so she moves towards her happiness. And so I would choose happiness here, Cancer.
Ooh, I love that. Well, I got the Two of Water. So that's a Two of Cups card here, talking about relationships going to a new level, and really trusting that you can find positive resolutions to any kind of conflict you're having with a loved one, with a career issue. So trusting that, but also another wand card, the Nine of Fire here. Don't give up either. Protect what you've
Mm,
created. So what I'm getting from these two cards is you might feel like you've got all the passion and energy, like you said, from the Sun card and everything, but it's not moving the way you want it to, and that's kind of the energy we've been in next. But the next move for Cancers really feels like protecting how far you've come and trusting
mm.
that you're going to have that aha moment. So, did anything else come up for you when you saw these with that?
Yeah, you know what I never pay attention to on the sun is like this little. He's got this feather in his cap in his head there, and the feathers in the tarot. Like, this is a long one. Like, the Fool has a super long one. The Page of Wands has a super short one. But it's kind of like we say
Right.
a feather in the cap, like as in
Right.
something. And I think I never pay attention to that on the sun. And I feel like that's what Cancer needs to realize. It's like what you need to know. Like, you're ready to start your journey, so that there's nothing that should be holding you back.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I think it's that
Yeah.
feeling of, don't feel like you need to just wipe everything clean and go all the way back to
Yeah.
the beginning, because even if you did that, you still have the knowledge from what you did.
Hmm.
So you're still further ahead than you were,
Yep.
before you started. So I love that. All right, moving on to Leos. What's the next move for Leos?
Leo, you have the Knight of Wands and the Seven of Cups. We were talking about the Seven of Cups. So, Seven of
Mm-hmm.
Cups is like being spoiled for choice, having all these options. I always say Seven of Cups, it's like he's dreaming of something, imagining something he wants, but he's thinking of all the good stuff and bad stuff that could happen, but really he doesn't know. So, sometimes we use Seven of Cups as an excuse. Like, if we don't do
Mm.
something, we can just say, like, oh, that never would have worked. And it's like, well, no, you actually don't know that what you were thinking about wouldn't have worked. You didn't do it. So, the Knight of Wands is saying take action on whatever your dream is or whatever you're imagining. It doesn't have to be a dream. It could be like maybe you want to move or maybe you want to go on a date or something. And I would just do it with these two cards.
Yeah, that's interesting because I had the three of fire, which would be the three of wands, and the three of
Yep.
air, which would be three of swords. So two threes coming up, and you were saying like you want it to work out, or no, it's not going to work out. Like you were saying about the choices, like the fears. That's what this feels like here. It also feels like
Mm.
there's a part of you that feels like things are really looking good. You're on the right track. You've made the changes, but then some old past wound comes back. And that was another thing I was getting from the 2025
Mm.
messages for Leos. There's a lot in there about forgiving your exes. So definitely check those out because you think you've forgiven your ex. There's still energy there. There's still more healing that needs to be done around that. It's going to actually help your career. It's going to help you with these long-term things. So definitely for Leos, it's going to be about having that confidence to keep going with where they want to go and not let any anxiety or doubt stop them from their next move. So did anything come up for you with these two threes here?
Yeah, and I think what should give you confidence is the Knight of Wands, Leo. The Knight of Wands is, to me, he's a true builder in the tarot. So if he doesn't have something for his journey, he builds it, and he can. He had,
Mm,
again, just like I said to the last sign, Cancer. He if he doesn't have something, he'll build it. So it's a very similar energy to what Cancer got. But I think that you need to realize that you have skills, just like Cancer.
exactly. Yeah, trusting in that natural creativity that you have.
Hmm.
I love that. All right, moving on to the Virgos. What's the next move for Virgos?
Virgo. Well, Virgo, you have the Eight of Cups and the Four of Swords, so you could be walking away from something. I really
Hmm.
feel like I'm cheating a little bit, Virgo, because I just did your reading this morning as well, and your reading was all about the truth. The past like 20 readings I've done for Virgo have been all about them exposing their inner truth, as in there's like something inside of you that wants to come out, and it's not like you've been lying. I just think that there's something inside of you that wants to be revealed, and the Eight of Cups is like realizing that like where you are right now, you're not getting what you should be getting from life. And so I think maybe you're going to take a little bit of a break here during the retrogrades with the Four of Swords. And then after the retrogrades, you're popping out, right? So I think
Yeah.
Virgo's about to pop out.
Yeah, that's interesting what you said about leaving something behind because I got the Lovers card here. And especially involving intimate relationships, there's something you need to really carefully weigh
Mm,
with your decisions. And I am getting that for some of this is relationships that maybe one person wants to take it to a romantic level and you're not sure that's something you want, or vice versa. But there is something, like you said, Chris, that there's not an equal exchange of energy. So this might not be romance. It might be a collaboration or a job or something with a family member. But you're also getting the Ten of Air card here, the Ten of Swords in tarot. And it's talking about it is the end of a difficult situation, but you're going to have to really embrace that change. That thing that you're walking away from, that you're leaving behind, is going to help you really embrace the future. So it feels like some kind of lifestyle or pattern around a relationship you're realizing isn't working anymore and you're walking away from that. Did anything else come up for you with that, Chris?
Yeah, I've been saying to Virgo for a while too that you said something in there that about like people. I think that Virgo needs to. It's like I think you need to make sure that the people in your life that you're actually like helping them.
Mm,
So what I mean by that is I think Virgo has maybe been working with people. I'm not saying like below you in a negative way. Someone always takes me there, but like I'm saying that just the skills aren't the same, right? So it's like you're way up here, and there's someone who has skills down here, and I don't necessarily think it's a time for Virgo to like lift those people up. You can help
mm-hmm,
people, you can, provide guidance and all that other
mm-hmm.
stuff. But I think as far as working together, like on important things, you need to make sure that you're equally matched. Same thing with love as well.
Yeah, that's a great way to say
Yeah.
that. Is I think that's what I was feeling too. It's that idea that you're putting so much love and support maybe into somebody and they're
Yeah.
just not ready. They're not there yet. So, but yeah, definitely weigh your decisions around intimate relationships. That's your next move.
Hmm.
All right. What's the next move for Libras, Chris?
Libra, you have the Seven of Swords and the Two of Cups here. So I personally do not read Seven of Cups as Seven of Swords as lying, cheating, stealing. I always say like golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what. But I would be careful of lying, cheating, stealing. It still does show up. I would be careful of tricky energy. But I think that this is, if you want love, Libra, I do think this could be a person who's taking a different approach with you. Two of Cups is always different. Whenever we meet someone under the Two of Cups, it's always like in a different way, or it's a different type of person, or a
Hmm.
person from a different place. There's always some sort of difference. So I kind of feel like this could be a person taking a different approach if you're looking for love. I feel like if you don't want love, even if you do, I think that you should be watching out with your communication. Definitely, that's the first thing that popped into my head when I pulled these two cards. This Two of Cups can represent just communication with anyone, and the Seven of Swords is the approach, how you approach things. So I would be like, he's doing things in a different way. It's like, imagine you're dealing with a person, you could punch him right in the face with your words, but instead he would do things different. So it's like, I think this is saying you need to watch your words, basically. That would have been an easy way to say it right there.
Well, it perfectly matches what I got because I got the Page of Air. It's talking about truth
Yeah.
delivered without tact, maybe a younger person coming into your life. And I'm also getting the Page of Earth card here about wanting to do something more challenging. But what was really coming through for me, especially regarding relationships, is be careful that you're not engaging with this person here because you're bored, because you want something more challenging, and you're projecting that need for something better. You want to increase your resources, you want to go back to school, you want to learn something differently, and you're distracting yourself with something here. So definitely what you're saying about being careful with your words. I am getting, for some of us, this could be just the way you handle your children, or maybe younger people around you, the way you talk to them. Just watch what you say, because you don't want it to come off as like you're ignoring what they're saying, even though it's truth. But you also don't want it to turn into something where it's just a distraction from what you really need to be doing, which is getting out there and doing something more challenging. So did anything else come up for you with this? Because I'm definitely feeling that around relationships.
Yeah, this is like ego. The lion is ego. So, and we do have Mars retrograde in Leo. I think Mars retrograde is always like a time of ego, right? So I think that I would just be careful, and just like, but also understanding, like understanding that people might be coming from a different place. They might just be having a bad day. And
Right,
that's kind of what
exactly.
I get there.
It might be true, but it just came out not the greatest way,
Not
or maybe
right. Yeah.
they're just not mature enough to say it in a way that's easily
Mhm.
received. But yeah, just watch out for that boredom there, Libras. It feels like that could be a tricky energy for you guys. But as long as you focus on where you want to make things more exciting, you're gonna be fine. So love that for
Yep.
Libras. All right, what's the next move for Scorpios?
Scorpio, you have the Page of Pentacles and the Judgment card, two communication cards, really. So, like, this could be news that you've been waiting for, or information that you've been waiting for. Page of Pentacles can be, even though we consider knights messengers, the Page of Pentacles can also be a messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that you could be getting news that you've been waiting for. I'm not really getting much else for Scorpio. I think it's good news. It
Yeah.
looks good to me, but yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, well, I was also getting the King of Air, which is a communication card there. And then also the idea that you are going to have to really say what you want, Scorpios, with some information that's coming in, your response to it. You have to really speak your mind. Just make sure you're really balanced before you're doing it. You're not coming from a place of feeling betrayed or feeling unheard or unseen. Try to really get grounded with your emotions, because we also have the Knight of Fire card here, which talks a lot about things moving quickly, and just really needing, again, to think things through carefully. So a lot of communication too, Chris, coming from the angel messages, talking about, again, watch your words, kind of a little bit like what we were getting with Libra, it feels like, but do speak up. You do need to share how you really feel about something, share what you really want, because that's ultimately going to be how you protect where you want to head in the future. So anything else coming up for you for Scorpio's next move?
I also got something that said, like, don't second guess something as well. There could be like an opportunity or something coming in for you, and it could be in the form of a message. And I feel this is saying, like, don't second guess it. It's almost like if you ask for something and you receive it, take it. And I
Yes.
kind of get that message with that card.
Wow, that's so interesting, because again, like, I'm thinking a little bit back on the 2025 angel messages. One of the
Yeah.
messages coming through for Scorpio was the idea that you guys got to get out into the sunlight. And I know a lot of you like your cozy your cozy offices or your cozy homes, and you want to be doing your work behind the scenes sometimes, but it is time for you guys to get out in the spotlight. And I think that's going to be with your communication as well. Like you said, if it comes in, speak up, say, yes, I want that job offer. Yes, I want to go on that date with that person. I think that's going to really help you with your next move, Scorpio. All right. What's the next move for Sagittarius?
Sag. Sag, I don't know how I feel about this. You have the sun and the moon. I don't really like the sun and the moon together. I mean, to
Hmm.
me, like in love, to me, it can be like two people who just aren't seeing eye to eye, or just are just too different.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel this is talking about the duality in Sagittarius's life right now. I feel like there are good things happening and maybe challenges that are coming up for Sagittarius at exactly the same time. And so, like, I think there are some things that are going well, other things are not. I think sometimes things look like they go well and then they don't. So I think you're dealing with this like back and forth. I feel more of that back and forth energy. That what just popped into my head as I said that is, I think, we have the dog and the wolf, dog and coyote, whichever you prefer, on the card, and they represent like our domestic side and our wild side. And I think you need to look at like what side do you have more of. I would be if maybe you need to be more wild and take more risk, maybe you need to be more domestic and stop taking too many risks. And that's what I would balance out if I were Sagittarius right there.
I couldn't agree more. I've got the Six of Earth card, which would be the Six of Pentacles. It's asking you to balance that giving and receiving cycle. And then also we have the Awakening card, which is looking at things from a different perspective. I think that we decided last month, Chris, this was the Judgment card, I think, in
Oh,
tarot, didn't we?
right, yeah.
And it's saying looking at things differently, a different perspective, but make sure you're being yourself. So I was also getting that for you guys, Sages. You give, and you don't always give the time to receive, or you get into that wild mode and you go, and then what you receive is exhaustion, or not feeling seen or
Yeah.
appreciated. So definitely it's important to be yourself in all these situations that are coming up. So your next move really is bringing a balance into your material needs, your emotional needs, your giving yourself enough sleep, giving yourself enough downtime. Anything else come up for you for Sagittarius
Yeah.
with that?
Like, these are like, on the other, I think the moon card is the most important card here for you, Sagittarius. Like, I would definitely focus on doing things that make you more happy with the sun. So I would work with this energy, of course. But also, like, the lobster here says something about your emotional armor. Lobsters can't really move on land very well. They have to. So the moon is about letting your guard down sometimes, or just releasing emotional armor in some way. So that might be another thing that you should work with
Oh, I
as
feel
well.
that. I feel that too. That was in the
Yeah.
2025 readings for Sagittarius, is that they need to make sure they're surrounded by people and environments
Hmm.
that let them grow and bloom. If you're in an environment that's not letting you really shine, then it's time to move away from that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I say this to Sag all the time. I think that's their where their challenges are people, like, especially
Mm-hmm.
people, or even like people from the past, not necessarily lovers, but
Mm-hmm.
just people that you haven't talked to in a long time, coming back and showing you that they're still exactly the same. I see that as one of the challenges that Sagittarius is dealing with.
Yep, definitely. So that's your next move. Move away from those environments. I love
Yeah.
it. What's the next move for Capricorns?
Capricorn, could be love for Capricorn. You have the Lovers and the Three of Pentacles. If it is love, this would be kind of like a teamwork situation with the Three of Pentacles, where you're both working towards the same vision. So it would be a person who has like very similar relationship ideas to you.
Mm.
If you don't want love, and even if you do, Capricorn, I think that you are building something. Like whatever you haven't been working on that you want to work on. If I were a Capricorn, which I basically am, that's all I would focus on, and I am. So, I would work on whatever hasn't been working that you want to work, is kind of what
Yes.
I get there.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense because I got the Justice card, so maybe it wasn't the Justice card that I was looking at earlier. But
Oh, I thought
the
you said Judgment.
I did say Judgment, didn't I? Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is the Judgment card. This is the Justice card. So fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for what stand up for your beliefs. Well, Capricorns, we know you tend to do that anyways, but you just had Pluto in your sign for many, many years, and now you're getting a break. In fact, we have the Four of Air card here as well, which talks about taking time to rest, take a vacation, allow more time before making a decision. And that was a big part of the messages for 2025 for Capricorns. It was around the new era for Capricorns is trusting your intuition instead of doing things just based on fact or the way it's traditionally been done. You're going to be asked to really take a break from that. So I'm actually getting that. Again, anything that feels like a grind, it's time for it to go. That's what I'm seeing with this Justice card. It's going to be more about doing the things that allow you to have that time for self-reflection and have that time to really work on your intuitive abilities. So did anything else come up for you for Capricorns?
Yeah, and support. Like Three of Pentacles is teamwork, so that could help you not grind. But I mean, really, I do think it's time for Capricorn to show off like something. Three of Pentacles, is a good, like, he is good at what he does. This
Mm-hmm.
is a card of quality work, but you also have to show people that you are good at what you say you are good at. So
Yeah.
I would be putting stuff on display here, Capricorn.
I
Whatever it is you do.
Yes, I love that because for whatever reason it made me think of what we said for the Aries, where the Aries tend to charge out in front of the pack, and so they do get recognized for the good work they do because they're out in front of the pack and people see them.
Yeah.
Whereas Capricorns tend to be in the back behind the scenes doing really good work too, but nobody notices it, and they don't even ask for the to be noticed. And
Noticed,
now,
right?
I think that's supporting what you said. It's time to get out there and say, look, this is good stuff here. So I love it. All right, that's your next move, Capricorns. What's the next move for the Aquarians?
Aquarius, you have the strength card and the Six of Cups. This could be like having the strength. I think Aquarius has developed a lot of strength over the years, recent years. And the strength card, like, she is showing off as well. People are seeing her stick her hands in a lion's mouth. Who in the right mind would stick their hands in a lion's mouth? The answer is nobody. So I think people are seeing your strength. The Six of Cups is a card, could represent the past. I look at it as a card of thinking about the past, but you could just be looking at the strength that you have developed since the past, and that could be helping you move forward there, Aquarius.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Well, we got the Moon card for Aquarius, and it's talking about really paying attention to any psychic insights that you've brought in, but also fear. There's a lot of fear that needs to be released around moving forward from something. In fact, you got the Six of Air, and it's talking about coming to the end of something really challenging. Maybe you've had trouble with communicating something to a boss, to a loved one in your work, but something around communication has been difficult, and it's coming to the end. You've got to release these fears, and you've got to trust your intuition on when the right time is to act, and actually when's the right time to go. So it feels like the next move for what I'm getting for Aquarians is leaving something behind where the communication just isn't working. Is there anything you got from that?
I mean, she is holding that lion's mouth, like literally watching words. So just like we said to someone else, like I would, Mars retrograde, I think it's true for everyone that everyone should watch their mouth during Mars retrograde. So, I would be patient with your words with that card.
I'll never forget your readings. The last time we had Mars retrograde, when it was in Gemini, you talked a lot about gossip and like, watch out.
Right.
Like, don't gossip because that person will find out. And I saw it happen so much during Gemini. I always thought of you saying that. But then also the idea that, I think with all Mars retrograde that tends to happen, and it comes out a little differently depending on the sign it's in. So I am seeing a lot more gossip happening with Mars retrograde now, but it's also it's just happening differently. And I like what you say too about that. It's like, well, it's free press, so try not to let it bother you if people are talking about your actions and your moves. Attention is attention, right?
Yep, exactly.
So, great advice in all the videos, Chris. I appreciate it. It sticks with me. I put it in my journal. So
good.
Okay, we're to the Pisces. What's the next move for the Pisces?
Pisces, to get started. I mean, Pisces, I feel like I don't want to have to sass you here, but I mean, like I'm always saying, Pisces, you have to get started. And you have the Knight of Pentacles, which is no movement, and you have the Knight of Wands, which is movement. So I think it's time for Pisces to like plant seeds in a new direction, like whatever you're second guessing yourself on. Your first guess is always the right guess. You're a Pisces. Every time I doubt myself as a Pisces, I always regret it after. The second guess is never right. So, that's why I was a D student in school. I would always pick the other answer instead of the right one. So I think you need to, kind of pick the right answer here, Pisces. It's your first guess, first gut instinct, and take action.
I love that. Yeah, because it's so intuitive. And speaking of choice, I have the Eight of Water card here. And it's talking about a desire to move on from something, the search for something new, spiritual and emotional growth. And again, I think definitely trusting that first intuitive hit, that first choice, because you are so naturally intuitive, Pisces, but not doubting that that's coming through. And especially now that we have, I believe we said January 11th is going to be when the nodes move, and it will be going into your sign, Pisces, the North Node, and it's going to be really important you tap into these natural born intuitive abilities. Everybody here has them, but Pisces is going to be showing us how to use them like we've never seen before. And in fact, we have the strength card here as well, which I know we just had that for somebody else, but it's essentially the idea that you have to really show how strong you are. Get out there and show how strong your intuition is. Be a leader in that way. Everybody that is waking up is going to be looking to you to see, how do you do this naturally? How do we bring this into our daily life? So did anything else come up for you?
Yeah, I mean, I always say to Pisces, like, I feel like for Pisces, they like in 2008, between then and like 2016-ish or 2012-ish, like between those years, I think Pisces like had to learn everything that like everybody's about to learn. So like you just said, Pisces, I think, is like meant to show people like how to survive. So
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah, I love that. And especially since we have Neptune moving into Aries in
Yeah.
2025 as well, we're going to be relying on our intuition in a bigger way to deal with that fiery energy. So I love that. In fact, before we get to our bonus message, I'd love to ask everybody to write in the comments section below to affirm this guidance. I am motivated. If you'll write that in the comment section below, I am motivated, because these are your next moves. We want to see you motivated to do this. So the next time we come on and do a reading like this, you can see with hindsight the way that you were motivated to make that next move. So anything else you want to add for any of the signs before we go into the bonus reading?
That one was just I am.
Oh.
Scott would have been sad about that. But anything else?
That's so true.
I don't know. I have nothing else today, apparently.
Okay. I love
I'm
that.
a man. I just nothing.
Yeah.
I'm dead up here. You know, it's like
no,
there's
no,
nothing.
no, no. It's all that intuition
rattling
flowing
around
through, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shout out to our buddy Scott Cruz. He always likes to use the acronym for it. So you're right. We would have let him down with his song there.
Yeah.
I love it.
Time. Yeah.
And shout out to everybody in the comments. I see so many of our regulars there. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us here. We're going to get into a bonus message for all of you. And it is really important to be open to the guidance coming through for the collective as well, because these are your friends, your family, your children, your parents, right? You might be paying attention, but they might not. So that's why I like bringing up the collective reading, just to give us a little heads up. So anything you would like to start with, Chris, for the collective reading here?
Let's see what we get for the collective. Collective, you have the Ace of Swords and the Three of Pentacles. Funny I said truth to Virgo, because, you know, I look at the Ace of Swords as the truth. And the Ace of Swords is also laser like focus. I think that's actually what I wanted to say at the beginning of this about 2025, is that, you know, there really was that a big focus on focus for pretty much everyone and needing to stay focused. I think there could be a lot of distraction. I keep saying to people, you know, my biggest fear since 2023 is that by the time we get to 2033, there are going to be a lot of people who look back on to 2023. They're like, oh my God, all I did was worry about AI. All I did was worry about Miley Cyrus or whatever's going on with, you know, whatever, and I didn't get anything done. So I encourage people to, like, don't be one of those people. Stay focused on what you want. There will be plenty of things to distract you, but if you focus on building something, then you will actually have built something instead of worried. That's it.
Yeah. That is such a good point. I mean, that was one thing that my grandfather said years ago when we lived out in a really rural area, and developers would come in. He would talk about, you can't stop progress. So instead, you want to do something about it. You want to build something with the progress. And that's what came to mind for me with what you were saying with AI. I think we have spent a lot of time worrying about AI instead of using it to our advantage. And then I think we're going to see it come through in even bigger ways than we did the first round, right? And so I was getting the King of Water card here, which would also be the King of Cups. And it's talking about opening your heart and mind to those around you. So what were we just saying about our family, friends, loved ones, spouses who don't pay attention to this energy? It might be you that has to really set the tone, set the example. In fact, I tell a lot of light workers, you may not realize how much you set the tone in your own home. You might feel like you're always doing for everybody else and helping them through their thing, but it really does come down to first you checking in with your own frequency and your own emotions if you want them to feel that frequency on a higher level. So definitely check in with what kind of emotional tone are you setting for those around you. And then also this Two of Air card is, just like I said, one of the big themes for 2025 is pretending there's no problem is going to create a tower moment. You're going to end up having the universe handle it for you if you keep pretending there's not a problem. That's not meant to be a fear thing. It's meant to be a, hey, we're motivated to take our next move. And one of the things that I get a lot with this stalemate energy here too is actually being in limbo is worse than going backwards. At least if you go backwards, you have that opportunity to review, reevaluate, change your mind. You know, the first time I set out to build a house with my husband, we had an entire plan drawn up, and we actually had to go all the way back to the drawing board, fire the builder, fire the plans, start completely from scratch. And it took a whole nother 2.5 years to get to the point where we were actually living in a new house. And it was so worth it though. It was actually better to just go, okay, cut all of this. Let's go back. Let's figure out what I didn't like, what I did like. And I feel like that's a big energy for the collective as well, is be willing to go back to something with the wisdom you've gained, and don't see that. I guess it's that narrative. It's not really going backwards. It's having another chance to do it better. Because it's not, you know, that's the thing that I feel like the collective is going to be fearing is, oh, we're going back to the old way and it's going to be horrible. And we're losing ground, we're losing progress. And instead it's more, no, we're actually reviewing what worked and what didn't. And then being open to that. So anything else coming up for you with that?
Yeah, I mean, I say that I think back to the drawing board is like a big thing that people have to do. I mean, I've been working on my startup for 2.5 years now. I had to fire 2 people, had to go back to the drawing board twice, and now I'm on my 3rd time, kind of rebuilding everything. So it's taken like way longer than I thought it would. Right? I thought it was going to be easy, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been like this whole long ass process, right? And I think that's what everybody is dealing with in some area of their life. So yeah, I think that was very well put.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, and I just had to give another shout out to Dent Makers because of your program, and you can check out more, like I said, on Chris Reck channel and chrisreck.com, is that's where you go when you're feeling like, oh, I'm going backwards, or, oh, this is taking so long. I mean, you've been helping me a long time with my YouTube channel, Chris, and still you think something's working, and then you have to adjust, you have to pivot. And, you know, when I look back, what you were talking with the collective, I don't want to see people wake up in 2033 and go, what did I do with these last 10 years? Because I kind of had that epiphany when I started working with you with my YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel in 2020, and then I constantly got distracted by other things, or I called it a distraction, or I called it like an excuse when it's really just a fear of vulnerability or not knowing what the next move is. And so I definitely heard what you were saying for the collective too, about watch out for those distractions. This is where we like have that situation where we get totally caught up in a new romance, and we let our health or our career go, or we, you know, have a bad breakup, so we get totally into our workouts or our career, and we ignore the perfect person that just showed up. And I know you said you had that message too, Chris, about like if you ask for it and it comes, that's where that leap of faith I think is going to come in. Checking with your intuition there.
Yeah, I think there's like been a lot of stuff about boundaries in the readings as well. So like as long as you know what your boundaries are and you stick to those boundaries, like when you get into that relationship or when you you know, start that business or do whatever, then you'll be fine. You know, that's why I always encourage people, like, you know, I always tell people like to do things in 90-day chunks. Changed my life, right? Like I learned this like years ago, I don't even remember, but like every 90 days I like set a standard, not like a goal, and I just say like I'm going to do this much work and like see what it equals for me. But also part of my standard is that like I get to go do stuff that's fun. I only have to work every single day until 9, and I could be done if I wanted to, right? So it's like, but that's like because I started with that standard in mind, and then I can screw off for the rest of the day and I'll be perfectly fine. So you know, but again, if you don't set those standards, then you have no clue what's working, what's not working. So I think that would be a good thing for people to do this year.
Yeah, and another thing I've heard you say a lot in the readings is about celebrating successes, not just glossing over them and going right to the next thing.
Yeah.
I love that idea too. I think that is part of the innovation of Pluto Aquarius is stopping for the celebration, giving yourself credit. In fact, right now at the time you're hearing this video is a great time to write down your successes for 2024. usually there's way more than you can even really write down in a decent time period if you really get honest with yourself, that you have had successes this year, and that can actually help you with where you want to go going forward. So taking that time to celebrate your successes this year can be huge. In my angel readings for 2025, I gave all 12 signs a keyword and a pocket affirmation to support it based on the energy for them. And I wanted to remind you all that that's a good thing to do. There was one year that I had a year of yes. I was a yes and I did yes and to all opportunities that came up. Yes, I can do that, and I'll show up here, right? And that was great. It got me out there. It got me past some vulnerabilities. But then the following year, guess what? My word had to be no. It was my year of no for 2024. I had to go, okay, I said all these yeses. Now I've got to go back to no. And so it's finding that balance, I think, in there. And this is a great time of year to be thinking about those things, so that when all the collective is, worked up with this energy, potentially, you can be the one setting the tone. So yeah, I think that can be really good.
Totally agree. I only ever say no. Because if I say yes, I regret it later. As a Pisces, I always agree to things. I'm like, no, why did I say yes?
I love that. My grandfather was known as having a quick no. People thought it was mean, but he was like, hey, I reserve the right to change my mind later, but it's a quick no. So yeah, that's a healthy thing for us all to bring in as light workers. Well, Chris, this has been so much fun. It's always my honor to work with you and have you on my channel. I know everybody out here loves it. So much great wisdom. So I look forward to having you on again in the new year.
Of course.
And I'm wishing you happy holidays and your family and loved ones, and to everybody out there watching. Again, thanks for being here. Go check out Menopon Tarot, which I'm sure you already have, and also Chris Reck's channel with his new video just airing today. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Remember, take time every day to connect with the angels. Bye.